Boaz Weinstein, co-founder and principal of Whillans. Whillans is a commercial litigation finance firm based in New York and Palo Alto. We fund high-value commercial litigation disputes, typically cases involving damages of $20 million and up, business-to-business disputes.
Corey Worcester from Quinn, Emanuel, Urquhart & Sullivan. Quinn Emanuel is one of maybe the largest all litigation firm in the country. It's a general practice litigation firm that covers pretty much all areas of the law. 750 lawyers and I think 17 or 19 offices worldwide.
Strom, I'm a reporter for The American Lawyer. The American Lawyer is a magazine that covers the nation's largest, most profitable law firms all across the U.S. We cover the business of law, we cover big cases, we cover the people behind those cases.
Volfi Mizrahi, Managing Director, Brynt Park Capital. Brynt Park Capital is a boutique investment bank headquartered in New York. A large part of our focus is providing investment banking services to specialty finance industry.
My name's Kelly Hyndman. I'm a partner with Sughrue Mion in Washington, D.C. Sughrue Mion is an IP firm that provides a full range of patent, trademark, and other IP services to Fortune 100 clients and small businesses.
Jonathan LaMantia, healthcare reporter with Crane's New York Business. Yeah, so Crane's New York Business is a business journal in New York City. We cover healthcare, real estate, politics, and the businesses that drive New York City.
Stephen Chen, Managing Director, Kentmore Capital. Kentmore Capital does capital advisory and litigation financing.
So my name is Mike Nichols. I'm one of the founders and managing directors of Longford Capital Management in Chicago. Longford Capital Management is a specialty finance company. We provide funding for non-recourse funding for highest value commercial litigation cases, primarily of three types. One, commercial claims of all types. Second, intellectual property claims of all types. And finally, antitrust and trade regulation claims.
I am Kay McGill. I work for ALM Media. Those include the New York Law Journal, American Lawyer, Corporate Counsel, to name a few, and I'm an account manager. So ALM, we dominate the space. Primarily, we don't have any other competitors in the legal market. We do all legal publications, so they're considered the Bibles for different regional markets and national markets as well.
I met attorneys, I met funding firms, I met brokers, I met folks who work in and around the funding world and provide services. There was a wide mix of people here today.
It's a mix of folks. It's both lawyers, other funders, as well as investors who are simply interested in the space.
It's actually a diverse group. There are lawyers here, they are funding companies, and they're industry group participants.
Well, the people I was focusing on in particular were funders. So I met some representatives from the top 12 funding sources, and also I met some smaller players, some people who are looking at getting into litigation funding and finding out how are they going to do that. And so it gave us a chance to really speak with and maybe make some good initial relationships with some funding companies that nobody else has heard of yet, but we'll probably hear about a lot of in the near future.
I'm meeting a broad mix of funding firms as well as attorneys as well as folks that are interested in the space.
The funder side, a number of the attendees here are in a management or ownership responsibility of their respective litigation funding companies. So they're my contemporaries at other competing firms. On the lawyer side, I've had conversations with a number of partners at large commercial law firms throughout the United States with various specialties that all kind of fit within our areas of interest. And these are decision makers within their respective law firms. And then I've also had conversations with several members of the media who are here to participate in the event, ask questions, and I think get a greater understanding of this asset class.
We met partners at big law firms, we met general counsel of funding firms, we met a shareholder from a litigation funding firm, people who were the owners and stakeholders of those businesses, and people who broker deals between clients, law firms, and funders.
there's a nice mix of people here. There are litigation companies that fund this. There are attorneys that are here. There are press like myself that are here. And you know, it's nice to have different perspectives from those different individuals.
I don't think that I was aware of how many funding groups were operating in Australia. That was a surprise to me, and it did make me think that there might be opportunities in Australia that I hadn't thought about.
I was actually very surprised by the amount of energy that the crowd had after our panel. And it was scheduled to end at 5 o'clock on a Friday in Manhattan, 70 degrees outside, and everyone stayed till about 5:30 because they had questions to ask the attorneys, and they were good questions. So that was what made me go, wow.
I heard the practicalities, especially on the commercial side, of funders and law firms and clients having conflicts of interest. And it's an issue that we oftentimes don't talk about, but we have in the background mind. So this was kind of refreshing to have an mini industry conversation about it.
I think the thing that I learned here that was most useful was that litigation funders are not just people. They're business people that have a lot of things they want to accomplish. It helped me gain an insight into the things they're trying to accomplish. I know what I want out of the deal, but helping me understand what they want out of deals was really useful.
I knew nothing about APAC. I was not familiar with the international market very much, so that whole session I was taking notes on.
I got a lot of useful new ideas from this conference.
I did get a few ideas today and a few people that I wanted to follow up with and talk the ideas over with. Yeah, I think it was a good exchange today with people I either hadn't interacted with before, hadn't interacted with in quite some time.
I think it's always thought-provoking when you are seeing how others are viewing the market. Always interested in the feedback of others, and so I think that's always helpful to take on board.
Yeah, certainly I got ideas from the event. I know I met people who are in this, who live it, breathe it, so there'll be good sources moving forward. And I did get the type of events in litigation finance that will cause conversation, that people are interested in hearing about, seeing, avoiding. So as a reporter, those are the things I'll be on the lookout for, the things I'll be asking people about to try to bring to light.
I think generally speaking, it's always good to hear different people's view. You know, a law firm that is looking for funding will bring a different perspective than a law firm, litigation marketing firm, law firm versus a litigation funding firm, or an industry advocacy firm. So it's good to hear different perspectives.
Yeah, you know, I think it's an interesting topic. I think that, you know, in doing the prep calls, what I heard from some of the commercial funders is that about once a year there's an article that's about litigation funding going mainstream, and so I think that you'll probably continue to see articles that are, you know, explaining it to more general business readers, and I think that it's something that should be on people's radar. You know, one of the panelists that I talked to ahead of time was saying that, you know, he thinks that this is going to become kind of more commonplace, that if you're just like when you're buying a house, you're going to get a mortgage, that if you're seeking a lawsuit that's going to be difficult to finance, that it'll be more commonplace to seek funding.
I did. I actually just spoke to Roy. He said he has a couple ideas. He's changing some of his questions for the panel that he already come up with based on some of the information that we've gotten here. I think it's a great area that we need to focus on too. You know, it's an area that I think that can be grown a lot more than it currently is right now in legal space.
Potential enough to make it worth the while.
We didn't bring any deals to be done, so I would say no, we didn't do any deals, but we do have some great commitments to go forward and bring what we have to the funders in the future, and they just seem very receptive to it, and we're happy to meet with us.
I'm hoping so. I'm going to follow up with a couple of people, so I'm hoping that some of this will nurture and turn into a relationship. I mean, if not now, sometime in the future. I think, as we heard from a lot of the panelists, this is a growing industry, and I think as more firms are starting to get on board with this. We're going to see more firms and more of these types of companies wanting to advertise within our space as well.
I've certainly met with lawyers who have an interest in the space and could potentially be sources of business as we go forward. I think it's always. I think of networking and marketing in litigation finance as somewhat of a long game, because certainly there's opportunities to meet people who have cases ongoing at the time. But I think it's just as valuable to be meeting with folks who have an interest in the space and may see cases down the line, and so I think we've certainly seen some of that.
I think that the takeaways from me was we got some very thoughtful questions from members of the audience. I've had a number of members of the audience approach me after my presentation to explore potential business opportunities, which is one of the great value adds of a conference like this is allowing us to expand our footprint as we grow, and I think the event has certainly done that.
Beautiful event. We'll come again and again, and we'll tell my friends to come.
This legal financing conference 2017 was really invaluable to me. We are developing our practice in funded litigation, and the opportunity to meet with funders who are looking for law firms to partner with, and the opportunity to just gain a great education into the world of litigation funding, especially in IP, has been totally invaluable to me.
Great. It's been a good opportunity to meet with others in the field, both those lawyers and capital providers who have an interest, other litigation funders, to exchange views on how the industry is evolving and other trends, and it's been a great way to get to network and get insight into how others are seeing the space.
It's a great conference. I had a lot of fun. Met people who knew what they were doing, who were passionate about what they do, who were interested in learning more about a subject that they did already know a good amount about, and like to have fun. We had a couple beers at the end.
I think it's been very positive. I think that the things that have impressed me, it's been a broad subsection of attendees. So we've gotten quite a few attendees from the litigation funding space, as well as a number of attorney participants, which are, as I spoke during my portion of the program, are really the lifeblood of our business. We've got potential claim owner attendees and interested parties, including members of the media. So I thought it was a diverse attendee base.
The conference was great. I learned a lot today. I met a lot of people that I hadn't met before, and it was a good day.
I think the event was really great. I'm a former attorney, so I know a little bit about this. I don't know a lot about this, and I think it was really helpful to learn about this space from people that are actually in the space and that are experts in the space too.
It's the first one of its nature that I'm aware of. So different players, different attendants, and it's a good start.
I think it's been a good event. I think you have a nice mix of attorneys who are interested in learning more about litigation funding and funders themselves who can provide some insight. So I hosted a panel on third-party investment and litigation funding, what I kind of learned was, these funders are looking for attorneys who are seeking funding to do their due diligence ahead of time. They want to have a fully baked case come to them if they're going to fund it. And they also just want attorneys to be upfront and realistic about what it's going to cost to finance these cases. They don't want you coming in with a kind of lowball number to make sure that you land the business, or a number that's too high where they don't think that they'll really be able to make the returns that they need.
I thought the speed networking session was really useful because it actually forced me in front of people that I might not naturally have run into or decided to approach on my own. I thought it was really useful, and it gave me enough time to actually make a connection and find out if there's some business relationship to be had, or if nothing else, it gave me a level of depth that I needed without taking all my time. So I thought it was a very efficient way to do things.
Pretty good format to meet people. Used a lot in investor conferences where you have 5 minutes to sit down, or 5-10 minutes to sit down with someone and quickly trade business cards and talk about what you do and what you're looking for. It effectively sets up a down the road conversation.
So my experience was very good. I met everyone that I met. I had no idea who they were. So I guess to sort of sum up what it's like, it is you speak to somebody for 5 minutes, you explain who you are, what your title is, where you are within this legal space or the investment space, and then you listen to the other person speak, and then within that 5 minutes you rotate and then you speak to somebody else about the same thing.
I would recommend this event to, most particularly attorneys who are looking to learn more about commercial litigation finance and perhaps think about participating in that either individually at their firm level. I'd encourage claim owners who are potentially considering working with a litigation finance company to come to the event. And I'd also encourage members of the media, additional members of the media who are thinking about writing or exploring the various aspects of commercial litigation finance to come and learn more about our asset class, the growth of it, and I think what is going to be a very exciting asset class for years to come.
I'd recommend this event to any litigation funder that wants to meet with attorneys that are in this space, that are trying to cultivate client relationships and find people with meritorious claims. I'd recommend it to any of my colleagues in the legal profession who are dealing with those plaintiffs and those people with claims that don't have enough money to foot the bill themselves.
I would recommend to investors who are interested in the space that preeminently. It's a good educational type format, and you get to meet a wide breadth of folks.
I think it's people that want to learn more about litigation funding would benefit from this event. I saw one gentleman who wanted to learn a little bit more about how these deals are structured, and he was able to talk to Mike Nichols and learn a little bit more about the way that he structures deals, a guy who's an experienced funder.
I'd recommend the event to people who wanted to get more involved in litigation finance and who had the wherewithal to do it. I'd recommend it to big law partners. I'd recommend it to people who are at funders. I'd recommend it to clients because a lot of times it's corporate counsel who could be in the position to bring these cases to their outside counsel, or who could benefit from having relationships from a funder so that they could lessen the cost of a big litigation.
I would recommend this event to definitely attorneys for sure. I think there should be more attorneys here. I think there's more investment individuals that are here at the moment, but I think that this would be really helpful for attorneys to be present and seeing what's going on within this space and talking to the experts that are within the space.
I would recommend the event either to friends in the funding world or to other attorneys who wanted to come. Sure.
It depends what it wants to be. I think it can specialize in bringing funding companies and law firms together on one hand. That would be a very different direction. Or it can try to bring funding companies and investors in those funding companies, which would be a very different direction.
I think the event is ideal for lawyers who are interested in learning about the space, investors who are curious to get a better hold on the field as an investment proposition, and for funders it's also an opportunity to exchange views amongst themselves.